Hey, good evening. I'm really happy to have you here. My name is Daniel. I was a professional opera singer and beatboxer, and tonight we're going to be listening to Priscilla's song performed by Dan Vasc. So, this is just a continuation of the Witcher series from Dan Vasc, and I'm really excited to jump into this. I don't know anything about this song because I haven't seen The Witcher, but there's no reason for me to believe that Dan wouldn't do a great job on this piece, so I'm really excited to jump into it, and I hope you guys are as well. So without any further delay, let's just jump into it.
Scars long have yearned for your tender caress, to bind our fortunes. Damn what the stars own, rend my heart open, then your love profess.
Such a pure sound.
Abiding, weaving fate to which we both atone. You
Yeah!
I know not if fate would have us leave us one, or if by love's blind chance we've been bound. The wish I whispered when it all began, did it forge a love you might never have found.
Oh my gosh, dude. Like, I'm gonna comment on Dan in a second, but dude, those instruments, the guitar, especially the drums, the consistency in those rolls, oh my gosh. It's just so hype. Okay. Whew, my gosh. Okay. So, with Dan, where do I begin? Very pure sound in the beginning. Direct. Really great to have something not intense in the beginning, so you have plenty of room to grow in a myriad of different directions that you would want to go into. And just the build into the scream, into the real meat and potatoes of the song. Oh, that was very expertly done. He did such a great job building that energy into that intensity. Oh, I loved it so much. There's just so many other elements that I really want to comment on, but I need to talk about them when they happen, so let's just jump into the analysis. Just the way he's standing. There's so much power and presence in this chest forward, shoulders rolled back, spine completely elongated. That's actually really great singing posture, where you have one foot slightly in front of the other, and it almost feels as though you have a third leg sticking out from your tailbone to support you, as well as a tripod supports itself. So to have one foot slightly in front of the other, not like bust out your chest, but to have kind of like an invisible string connecting your chest to make sure that you're not slouched in, but that you are standing straight. Your spine is elongated up. You feel a thread through the top of your head, allowing this straight posture to come through. And when you breathe, you expand your diaphragm, your chest doesn't rise. And to have this kind of very strong and dominating energy, even before you sing, it sets a tone. It sets an atmosphere, even before singing. And I love the intensity he gives before the piece, before he actually begins singing, because you don't know what to expect, but just by reading the subtext alone through his sheer palpable aura, you already know that something big is coming. You can feel it in the air, and I love that about him.
Scars long have yearned for your tender caress, to bind our fortunes. Damn, what the stars on rend my heart open, then your love profess.
I love the way he's structuring these cadences. Very smooth. It flows very well from one cadence into the next. His voice is very soft, very lyric here, and lyric just meaning very smooth and soft, essentially. Even though there's a good amount of support in his voice, because you can hear, like, if a person's voice isn't supported, their voice is more prone to cracking. Their voice is prone to tapering out unexpectedly in the middle of phrases, and you can just tell from the way that he's singing that the phrases are very well connected, that his sound is very pure. It's not loud and dynamic, but it doesn't need to be in order for it to be well supported, and he's doing a wonderful job with that there. There are some elements that might sound like he's forcing a vibrato a little bit, but I'm not really confident in that statement, so I want to listen to that again.
These scars long have yearned for your tender caress.
Yeah, okay. So he's not forcing his vibrato, but his vowel shape is a little weird on caress. Caress. Maybe to darken that vowel a little bit, might have had a stronger vibrato. Instead of ka. Because ka kind of rests in his chest a little bit instead of projecting through his mask, the bridge of his nose, to create a more targeted sound, which in this particular lyrical style of singing, I think would better benefit him to round out, to darken that vowel, especially when we're in this very soft and darker atmosphere. I think rounding that vowel might prove to be a little bit easier to control and manipulate than sinking the schwa, the sound, into the chest like he does here.
Long have yearned for your tender caress.
Yeah. Ka versus ka. But honestly, I'm not going to be too strict about it because I understand the flow that he's going for here. It feels like there's a subtext in that where it feels like you're being murred a little bit, and I could definitely respect the choice.
To bind our fortunes, damn what the stars.
I love his mix here, and a mix is a mix between your chest voice and your head voice. So when he enters that middle range of his voice, where it's a little high for his chest voice but low for his head voice, he just approaches those notes so elegantly.
For your tender caress, to bind our fortunes, damn what a star.
I love those textures. Yeah. The fact that he's introducing new textures, it lets his audience know that we're not just resting in one particular textural center, but rather we're getting different ideas. I dig it.
So, rend my heart open, then your love profess, unwinding, weaving fate to which we both atone.
I love that a lot. Just in terms of when you're maneuvering between two different notes, it's very difficult to not fall in the trap of making those notes choppy because it sounds mundane just going between two notes. Da 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 da. And it can feel very mundane and just feel like there's no real momentum happening and just lose a lot of its energy in that musical cadence. But to still maintain that flow-like state of and just to have this constant cursive penned line, this beautiful calligraphy just constantly being penned throughout the entirety of the musical cadence, to know that there's this generating forward momentum regardless of the notes. That's pretty difficult to pull off, and you need to have a conscious awareness of that and practice it. So you can tell that Dan definitely had that time to understand what it is he was doing with that cadence. Also, something I've commented on in other Dan videos, where this video is no exception, his diction is wonderful. Even in very quiet moments, you still get the ending consonants of words and they flow into the next musical cadence. He's doing a really great job with that as well.
Open, then your love profess, unwinding, weaving fate to which we both atone.
Yeah, and it's very subtle in the way that he approaches those two interchanging notes, but there is a certain flow to it, that kind of like a rocking cradle, where it doesn't feel like it's bum 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 bum, but rather ba da 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 da. And just that ever so slight difference, at least to me, in terms of the sensations that I feel in my body, is a world of difference, and I really appreciate that.
Weaving fate to which we both atone.
Yeah, and I made the statement earlier that it felt like his vibrato was forced. I was completely wrong about that. It feels very natural and just very gentle at the same time. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is I really appreciate the fact that he's letting his breath spin and flow very naturally. I want to listen to that breath again. Okay, so right there, I would have preferred to have him breathe on the vowel oo, because his next word is you. And when you breathe in on a vowel and then vocalize that vowel, subconsciously you're assigning your breath to that vowel. So the vowel comes out a lot more pure. And the reason I'm being a little bit more picky about this breath in particular in comparison to other breaths is this is the part of the song where it really picks up. And I feel like it would better serve him if this vowel was as pure as possible. So instead of having you can have you. And that minor difference, all of a sudden you feel just ever so slightly in its subtext this difference in comparison to everything we've heard thus far. And to know that that difference says to you on a subconscious level, something was different about that. Even before we get into the growth in dynamic or volume, even before we get into the scream itself, you feel a preparation in your body of that was different. Something was different here, and I can't quite put my finger on it. And having that prep is very interesting because you don't have enough time to really reflect on it and wonder, why do I feel this way? But just that sensation in your body, I think it's a really fascinating sensation to feel instead of just being thrown into the fire of All right, now we're starting with a scream, but we don't know it's a scream, and then growing into one in comparison to there's this weird sensation in my body, and then starting with a scream and then growing into it. It's kind of like just adding an extra step into the build. Instead of taking one step at a time, in this particular section, the more little textural sensations that we get, the more refined the piece is. And in a piece like this, where there's just so much happening throughout almost the entirety of the piece, having details that we can really identify and scrutinize to some level and really appreciate all of the work that went into it. I think just adding additional layers like this that don't ruin the integrity of the piece, but rather contribute to it, I think would definitely add a lot to the piece. But he's still doing an amazing job, don't get me wrong. That was so amazing. The way he executed that was just... You don't get that. You really don't. That was so good.
You
Even in this intensity, he still has this beautiful vibrato coming through. I want to listen to that again. Yeah. And again, just this energy radiating off of him. It's so powerful. Ooh, that passaggio work, or that break in your voice, that was really well done, dude. I want to listen to that again. Yeah! Yeah! And you can just see through his hands alone, but especially in his voice and in his facial expression and just in his body, you can just get the sensation that we're not only experiencing a new tempo and the piece itself is just slowing down into this more gentle section after all of that intense energy we just experienced, but you can feel this softness that comes with this gentle energy. And that's really important when singing music, is not just to go with the tempo, which is now retarded, but to actually develop this intense energy that you've just experienced and to actually make it soft. To not just sing your notes and sing within the tempo, but to actually radiate the energy, to actually feel this softness in your body after having experienced that intensity. To be able to go in between them is a lot more challenging than people might make it out to be. It definitely requires practice and understanding of self and voice.
I know not if fate would have us leave us one, or if by love's blind chance we've been bound. The wish I whispered when all began. Did it forge a love you might never have found?
I love that. Just that growth he had on that one note and that taper. There was just a nice dynamic contrast in that one note to show that there's still growth, still movement happening, even though we're in this slower, less energetic field as to where we just were. Just knowing that there's still a lot of dynamic contrast that could be within this more gentle, more slow section of the piece. That's really huge. It lets us know as the listener that even in this resting period, let's say, where we feel like we can catch our breath a little bit and just enjoy this lazy river type of feeling, that there's still growth happening, that we are still moving into something big again. And I love that. His voice, the way he executes each line, his scream, there's nothing I can comment on. It's actually that great. Ah, yeah, dude. And just look at this power pose he has. Still, even with all of this intense energy, still making his spine elongated, his chest strong. And just his natural physique is already very powerful. But man, dude, there's just so much power that goes into just his aura. When he's singing or screaming, you just really get that energy because you're getting his stance, you're getting his voice, you're getting the whole package in those moments. But even when he's not singing or screaming, you still get almost that exact same level of energy just through his palpable aura alone. It's ridiculous, dude. And just the way he put the mic down there, it feels like a swordsman is sheathing his blade, finally. Oh my gosh, it's... Ugh! Absolutely incredible, dude. Incredible work. Aside from my minor criticisms, dude, the way that you handled that piece and approached it and had so much dominating, not just flair, but intensity and real connection to the piece in and of itself. Oh, dude, that was stellar. I really, really loved that. Honestly. Just another one to add to the playlist, I guess. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. If y'all liked it, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And if you didn't like it, please leave a dislike and let me know why in the comments below. I do read all of the comments, even if I may not heart a reply to all of them, so please just know that your comments do not go unnoticed, and I do take them into further consideration as I make future videos. My live streams are currently Thursdays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so if you guys would like to stop by and say hey or ask any questions about myself, the channel, or anything that you guys would like to talk about, I will absolutely be there for you. My Patreon is really close to being completed. I just have to make some content for my final tier of it, and it should be ready to go. I'm really excited to share that with all of you, and I apologize for the amount of time it's taken me to make it. On top of my busy schedule, making all of this content, not just for YouTube, but for Patreon has been a lot, so I really appreciate your patience. I can't express enough how much I deeply appreciate all of you being here and watching these videos. I really appreciate it so much, and I can't wait to see all of you in the next video. Have a great rest of your evening, everyone.